Sector Podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Null Sector Podcast, home of the vibes, shelter for the baseline enthusiast, and hangout session for just about everyone in between. I am Null, also known as Jake, and let's chill, dude. Small talk update. Okay, two things real quick. If I'm a little quiet, and if there's a little tiny bit of background noise, this is our first late night podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It is 9:20 p.m. And for an old man like me, that is both past my bedtime and late at night. So I have to be a little bit quieter today. So we've got a chill vibe for today. And as far as the try not to be background noise stuff, it's hot. It's Florida. It's hot, man. So my AC is running, which my noise removal tool is okay at removing, but not the best. Also, I think it's funny. I got all my bling on for those of you that can't see the video, but I got fidget rings and I got these shaky bracelets. Well, not shaky, but I got bracelets with a bunch of metal shit on it. And my noise removal tool is not very good at removing those, so I might have to give up the bling for the podcast in the future, or just make sure my arms aren't moving, which is hard because I'm a motion talker. So I might have to remove those in the future, so we're not hearing little dinglies all the time. But if it's annoying, just let me know. Just let me know, dude. So small talk update. This is a big episode. This is an important episode for a lot of reasons. The title is not that great. You know, it is what it is, but holy shit. So boys, it is first and foremost a Tuesday. This episode does not come out until Monday of next week. But I'm recording it a little bit in advance this time because I do have content update. Usually I like to wait until I have some kind of content update before I record an episode. I'll be honest with you. Usually I record these episodes the day before they come out on Sunday night. And I kind of stay up late editing it and posting it like in the middle of the night, which is not good because I like get up at 3 and 4 a.m. for my day job. But you know how it is. You know how it is. So here's the thing. I have this Friday off. I was able to use my, what do they call it? Rotating holiday I put in for Friday off. And then I get Monday off as well, which is Labor Day, because my job, I don't know how many jobs do Labor Day as a holiday, but mine does. So that means I get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. So it's like a little mini vacation for me. So I'm trying to get most my content that I would be doing on the weekend done ahead of time. So hence Tuesday. Also, just felt like it tonight, you know? One of those nights, man. So, holy shit. I have no plan for like pacing myself on this episode. Also, I forgot to start a timer because I'm so excited. You guys... I'm just starting this stopwatch here. So I'm excited for a lot of reasons. I can't think. I'm so excited. So here we go. First double-digit episode. I don't know if I said that already. So that's fucking crazy. This podcast is not too low effort. I put some time into it. I even edit it a little bit sometimes. Well, I always edit it, but like if you watch the video version on my second channel, NU-11, sometimes I put little funny edits in there, including sound effects and like camera edits, zoom in on my face comedically and stuff like that. Usually not really past the first couple minutes because, it wouldn't be practical for an hour-long podcast. Not until I can pay someone or something, maybe one day, who knows. And I completely forgot what I was saying. Anyway, yeah. So I have them on my notes here. Oh, right. Yes. We hit the double digit. Oh, God, my brain is so scattered right now. I'm so excited. Okay. The double digits. That's cool, right? I'm really bad at doing anything consistently. and I mean anything, especially like hobby stuff, I never finish anything, and I never stay consistent on it. However, over the course of a year in and out, but nevertheless, still, I was able to get this podcast to 10 fully released episodes, and that's a big deal for me. I don't usually get that far when it comes to this kind of stuff, so I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very excited to keep going. I cannot wait to share this with you guys. Okay, we're going to get there. So, second thing I have on here for the small talk, I generally keep it unscripted, but sometimes I'll put bullet points of things I don't want to forget to talk about. I'm going to show some pictures for those of you who can see it. But my cat Panda Bear, which you can see in my YouTube videos, he's a very cute boy, and he's a little fat, and he's got a little white mustache. He's a tuxedo cat. He was sleepy as always through the day, and he was laying on the couch, and I don't know if you know this. You probably do if you're a cat person, but cats will use pillows like people do. They'll lay their head on the pillow. We have some like little tiny couch pillows that we have on our couch, and he laid his head on it, and it was very cute. So I took this little tiny teddy bear that we have, and I put it right next to him, and I covered him up in a blanket, and it was very cute. And he stayed that way. He hates being covered by anything, especially blankets and stuff. He hates it. He does not like it. So I was kind of messing with him, and I thought he was going to immediately get up. He didn't. He snuggled in more and just fell asleep immediately, tucked in under the blanket, with the bear. It was so fucking cute. It's very cute. So if you'd like to see the pictures, they have been on screen, and they're very cute. So yeah, my cat is cute. Okay, here's the big one. Holy shit, no wait, that has to come in the content update. Fuck. All right, we're gonna get there. Let's speed through this then, because we have got to get the content update. That's it. There's nothing else, really. Okay, next fucking topic, my friendo boy, Rosalinis. Content freaking update, guys. So, your boy on his main channel has released his first official video in a very long time that is not just music. I briefly did this was last year, I believe, late 2023, mid 2023, something like that. I did some kind of vlog, which I know is a word that dates me. I'm sorry. But kind of vlog style videos of me not really doing anything, which was the problem with them. It was supposed to be focused around my music, but it wasn't. So that's lame. I didn't really like them, to be honest. I don't even know if they're still on my channel. They're not. I actually took them down, I believe. I still have them, but they're not. I don't think they're actually on my channel right now. That like viewable. I mean, but for the longest time, I wanted to do more than just post my music, and that's it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I honestly, I think like a dedicated channel with just my music could be an interesting idea. I mean, why not? But here's the thing. I've always wanted to do other content too. Now, I used to do a lot of gaming videos, like edited, funny moments style editing. It was a thing. I've talked about it before, but I tried to be a Twitch streamer for a while, way back in 2021 or something like that. But my channel has always had the problem of being everything. Just, it was nothing in particular. And if you want a way to kill a YouTube channel, it's to post wildly different types of content at random times, years in between, sometimes 2 days later. Like, it was stupid. So I have had an insane history on my YouTube channel and channels, which I'm pretty sure I've talked about before, but one day we'll revisit it and I'll tell you guys the whole story. I've done a lot of stuff. A lot of it is no longer viewable anymore, but I still have it, of course. But here's the thing. Like I said, I want to make more different content. I don't want to just post my music all the time. Some of the content that I want to make is, I really like filming stuff on the fly, kind of unscripted. I kind of just think of something in my head. I'm like, where could I put the camera? Where could I make like an interesting transition with some nice fun sound design? I really enjoy working that way, and it's not necessary, but I just enjoy it. And so I've been trying in my mind to come up with an idea of how to make music related content while still including me doing things IRL, and like this kind of in between of like, not necessarily a vlog style, but segments of me walking around doing things while also being a video about making music, which is not, I don't think, a super unique idea, but it's just what I'd like to do. I think I would go crazy if all I ever did was like film myself at my desk, which is fine. I just don't want to do only that. So, and I think I talked about this, yes, I did, on one of my recent podcasts. I came up with an idea. So when you're trying to grow a YouTube channel from scratch, if you know the kind of content you want to make, whether it's gaming, cooking, music production, literally anything, look at the channels that you like, that are successful and are making the content that you want to make for whatever genre it is. And not only look at that person, look at everybody who's popular in that space and see what they're all doing consistently. Like what is similar between all of them. And then you'll kind of start to glean like, oh, they do their thumbnails a certain way. Oh, they kind of all edit their videos a certain way. They do this thing with whatever genre it is. And it's hard. I'm not going to lie. It is hard to not only identify that stuff, but then find a way to take that knowledge and make it unique to yourself without just copying everyone else. A lot of people would look down on that a lot. And, it is what it is. It's hard out there, but I think it is very important to not just copy a popular channel exactly and then slap your own name on it. I think it's very important to, you guys get it. I'm just fucking rambling. You understand what I'm saying. You're smart. You have nice little big fat wrinkly brains in there. They're not smooth. Well, mine is sometimes, but that's okay. So I came up with the idea where I kind of want to do, like, applying what I just said to music production YouTubers. A lot of them will do challenge videos, more or less, or like music. You could call it a game show. That's what I call mine. Like music game show ideas, interactive stuff with Twitch, where everything that they're doing in a video, it all funnels into the end result of making a piece of music, whatever that is. That's good, because that means it's always going to be consistent, even if everything before that is different, which is also a good thing. So I came up with my game show, my music game show idea, my iterative splice sample music game show idea called Sample Gamble. And here's the big news, guys. The first episode is out. Sample Gamble episode 1 is out right now. You can go watch it, dude. NU-11 on YouTube. Go check it out. No, baby. I'm pretty happy with it. It's kind of a really big deal for me. Like, I have always wanted to do this kind of thing, but for whatever reason, I've always doubted myself. that's another thing that, like, when you're creating art and especially content, it can be kind of like a Herculean task to get out there and try to be yourself, but present that to the entirety of the internet. Any content creator will tell you that 9 times out of 10, what you see in their YouTube videos, if we're talking about YouTube, but in a lot of different things, is a kind of a persona. Not kind of, it is a persona. Markiplier, his persona is very different from what's closer to how he actually is. You know, I don't know him personally, so I can't say. But if you look at Markiplier's YouTube channel, he's very loud. He's very, he improvs a lot, plays a lot of caricatures. And if you look at him in his podcast, Distractable with the Boys, he has moments where that comes out, but you can tell a lot of the time he's a lot more toned down, a lot more genuine, a lot more chill. And I love that version of Markiplier more. Like, I completely understand the persona thing, because that's just the business, baby. But I love when people are real. So seeing that side is very refreshing. I actually know a lot of people who don't watch Mark's normal content just because the persona that he presents is very loud. It's very energetic, and some people, that's too much for them, and that's okay. But then they actually like his chill content where he's more like down to earth and less crazy, and it makes sense. It does. So in my first episode of Sample Gamble, there's definitely a bit of a persona going on, and I don't know how to describe it yet, but just if you went and watched that episode and then listened or watched this podcast episode, I mean, you can already tell a difference. Now, tonight I have to be pretty quiet, so it's definitely more chill, but there is a difference. Sorry, I'm getting off topic, kind of. So, Sample Gamble is out. I never release anything on my main channel except my music. I finally did it. Like, I can't communicate how big of a deal this is for me, because I've always wanted to do this kind of content that I see other creators in the space do similar content. I've always wanted to do it and get it out there for people to watch, and I finally did it. I fucking did it, which for me is it's massive, because I don't ever do anything. I get a fourth of the way in, 3/4 of the way in, have 2 minutes left to finish it, and then just drop it completely and never touch it again. But I'm like, I'm really trying this time, guys. I'm really, really trying. I'm making podcasts, I'm making YouTube videos, I'm making music. When I'm not at work, you know, I'm trying to do this kind of stuff. Realistically, I think I'm actually striking a pretty good balance, you know. I'm kind of working on stuff, I don't know, 3, 4 times a week, a lot on the weekend. But it's not every day, so that's good. It could be, but it just doesn't work for my ADHD brain. It's impossible to really follow schedules. There's a lot going on in that brain. So let's talk about the big thing first. Let me stop putting it off. So I released Sample Gamble episode 1, and I called it, I think it was like Introducing Sample Gamble episode 1 or something like that. And I don't know what it was. You know, I thought I was over this. This isn't my first rodeo on YouTube. I've made some stuff before, so I've experienced starting from the ground up and everything. But this was such a big video for me. This was like my first real piece of content that it meant a lot to me. And in the back of my head, I knew realistically this video is going to do just about as well as every video I ever release does, which is usually under 100 something. Well, usually under like 200 views, unless I get lucky and share it a bunch of places, but never really do I get organic views, and especially comments. I haven't had that since, God, like 2017, 2018, back when I was an animation channel, and like I got really lucky to get in with a lot of the big animation YouTubers. So I kind of got attention and people latching onto my channel really quickly. And it was a crazy phenomenon. None of it was my own doing. I got so fucking lucky. So this time around, I released the video and I really try to not watch the numbers. I try to let it go, not think about it too much, not refreshing the page every 5 seconds to see how many views or comments I have. I didn't do that too well with this video because it was so important to me. But I'm not going to lie, within the first 24 hours, I was a little bit disappointed. And that's just the way it is, I think I had 30 views or something like that, and one comment, which was my own. Because the finished song that we end up creating in the first sample gamble, I said while it was playing at the end of the video, I put in a text note that it's out on Spotify if you want to listen to it, which is completely untrue. It's SoundCloud. I'm not uploading these to Spotify. I put them on SoundCloud. So I put a comment. I was like, fuck, I meant SoundCloud, not Spotify. Sorry, guys. I thought it was kind of funny that was the only comment. But, I put a lot of effort into this video. I mean, it took me about a month, I think, in total. And that's just because I didn't have a lot of time to work on it between like filming and editing and everything. It took a while. And there's some topics that kind of relate to this that we're going to get into today about like YouTube thumbnails and diversifying income from blah, blah, blah. We'll get there. So I was a little disappointed, and it is what it is. The thing with my YouTube channel currently is that I'm going into this prepared. I'm not as young as I was before when I tried to do this stuff. I'm going to be 26 soon. I've been around YouTube for a very long time, and I have a very realistic look at things. I know that with a channel as small as mine, and without a good history of posting consistently or consistent content, it's going to take a long time to get the ball rolling, especially organically, getting views and subscribers and everything like that. So I'm fully prepared when I post these videos, knowing that there's no real reason why I need to check things, because I know for a very long time it's going to be very small views, maybe no comments at all. And that's okay. And it's like that with all the content I make. TikTok, even this podcast, there's not many people that listen to this yet, and that's okay. Like I've said many times, this podcast is mostly for fun. I just like doing it. It makes me feel good to have something that consistently I'm throwing out every 2 weeks. That feels really nice, because that's just something I struggle with so much. I feel very accomplished doing that. So going into this, I knew it wasn't going to be much. I had my initial feelings about it. I got over it. I felt that initial wave of like demotivation, but I'm doing my best. Like, it took me about a day, but I was able to push it in the back of my head and be like, no, come on, man. You know this. You just got to keep going. It will come in time. And that's absolutely true. And so I've been bouncing around ideas in my head. One thing that I have been struggling to do with all the content I've been making, which isn't a ton, but with a day job that like takes up the majority of my life, to be perfectly honest with you, today I worked I worked a 12-hour day today. Like, I get up at 3 and I didn't get home till 4 today, and then I got to be in bed by 8. So I'm not saying this to brag. Working 12 hours is horrible. The current state of America is horrible. People should not even have to work. I wish. But I'm saying this because I do that like 5 days a week and sometimes for a couple hours on Saturday. And it leaves very little time for me to both rejuvenate myself and relax and get ready for the next day and work on hobbies. So it's difficult for me to be consistent through all the other reasons and that. So I didn't check on this video, Sample Gamble episode 1. I didn't check on it after like the second or third day, is what it is. Well, apparently, and I haven't felt these feelings in years. Apparently about 24 hours ago, YouTube boosted this video. And I am very excited to tell you that I went from 30 views to, let's just take a look here. I have everything pulled up because this is crazy to me. I am sitting right now at 167 views with a watch time on this video alone of 9.8 hours. For context, it's not completely unusual for me to get this amount of views, but normally, like nowadays, I would expect not much. This is content that anybody who was previously on my channel would not be expecting. Usually the only people that watch my videos at this point are friends and family, which is fine. I love them. Please do that. But you would not believe the feeling that I got when I checked today. Just on a whim, by the way. On a whim before I started recording tonight, I checked, I opened YouTube Studio to check on the video because if you just click on the video, that counts as a view, and that annoys me when my views are so small to begin with. I don't want to be inflating my view count, And I looked, and all of a sudden, I see this massive spike in the graph for views, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then it says, for the comments, it says 4. And that one is like kind of when I felt my stomach not really drop, but get kind of fluttery, because I was like, excuse me, I don't get comments. Literally, I don't get comments on any of my videos, again, except for friends and family, which please always comment. We love you. Mwah. But I don't get organic comments on my videos from people that I don't know. That just doesn't happen, like at all. That does not happen. Here's the big one. I used to have about 3,000 subscribers. I don't remember, to be perfectly honest with you, if I ever broke 3,000. I'm sure I could bring it up somehow, but quickly while within the podcast, I don't know if I could. Maybe I could. I feel like this is going to take too long, to be perfectly honest with you. Lifetime subscribers. Okay. So if it will load, we're waiting on it. Oh my God. Impressions confuse me, by the way. I've never really understood what impressions are. I think that just means if anybody happens to see your video in any context, that counts as an impression or something like that. But my subscribers were at an all-time high of I guess that's what it is. 2,443. That sounds like my current subscriber count. Also, this is running at like 3 FPS in my browser. What the fuck? Well, anyway, I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, I thought this was a bad idea. Anyway. Yeah. This is confusing as hell. Anyway, I think I was close to 3K subscribers at one point. During the peak of my animation channel days when I was still posting, I was just about to crest 3,000. And then everything went downhill from there, and I stopped posting and I did random shit and just killed my own channel, which was completely my fault. Since then, it's not artificial. I wanted to say because I artificially boosted my numbers. It's not. you know, I actually did earn those 3,000 subscribers, but I kind of left my channel for a long time. And then I came back to it wanting to make completely different content than I did before. I got accustomed to just watching the subscriber count fall and never really go up, which is fine. It's to be expected, especially for like a little while longer, you know, until the people that don't want to watch music stuff and like that unsubscribe enough to where the people that do subscribe actually want to, you know, are subscribing for my new content. I haven't had an actual subscription to my channel in, I think, years. Maybe like an odd one or two that was completely unprompted and I have no idea why, which I don't know, maybe it's a bot. But I haven't had actual subscriptions on my channel in forever, especially because of something I made. This video got me 5 subscribers. Oh, 5 subscribers, which does not sound like a lot. But to someone who only ever sees -5 subscribers whenever I check, that was a big deal. Like, I'm never going to be able to express how much of a big deal that this is for me. So we're going to go back and look at the analytics for this because I want to go through everything. So I checked. Here's what I'm getting to. You've already heard the exciting stuff. This is it. But for me, I have been thinking for a long time that even though I'm trying hard and like I want to do this full time, I want to make this be future, maybe one day if that happens to pan out, you know, that'd be cool. But in the back of my head, the realistic part of me knows that will probably never happen, like ever. And the more and more I post things that I work hard on nowadays, you know, when in the back of my head, I'm thinking I'm doing it right now, you know, I'm not posting weird random shit inconsistently. I'm doing it right nowadays. I'm putting quality content out consistently and I'm doing everything I can to do it correctly. And I still don't see anything come from that. You know, I know that that's what it's going to be like, but there's still that nagging voice that's like, it ain't going to happen, man. It ain't going to happen. And seeing this, a bunch of views, organic 5 subscribers, and 4 comments. 4 comments is honestly the biggest one. I don't get comments ever. Like, I was actually just standing here, well, sitting at my desk with my hands just clasped over my mouth and my nose, just laughing, just in disbelief, going, oh my God, because I never thought this would happen, especially this soon. So let's go to the comments real quick. So of course there's my comment, which was like, oops, it's supposed to be on SoundCloud. Yeah. We have 3 comments here. First is from @CSanaDR, and they said, the algorithm is boosting you. Keep at it. Sample Gamble is a great name. I can't stop smiling. Second comment, ProdK @Heathens said, Sample Gamble is a dope name. Love the concept. We'll be following your future endeavors. And an emoji that is just a rectangle for me. Bro, what? Last comment by Perry Pecool 2342, who said, you literally have 1 comment, yours laughing emoji, and now 2. So I guess this guy was the first person to comment other than me. Pretty funny, bro. Thumbs up emoji. Don't give up. It may take some time. Man. I have not felt the feeling that these words are giving me since when I first started doing animations and when my channel first started to grow. And it is exciting. It is very exciting. these kind of comments that were like, love the content, bro. Keep at it. You're going to do great. Like, I haven't heard that in so long from strangers. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's very motivating. You know, I have no idea if they listen to the podcast. I don't think they do. But, you know, if you guys are here, it means a lot. It really does. Also, I think it's funny. I say these things. So for a long time in the content that I make, for a while now, I have been acting as though I have an audience, which is just rule number one for content creation, especially when you're starting out. Act as though you already have an audience so that you're prepared for when you do. So like when I'm streaming, nobody ever gets in my chat, but I'm always talking. I'm always asking questions. And like if nobody answers it, that's okay. So in Sample Gamble, I did say like, hey, was the intro too long? I can make it shorter next time. What do you guys think of the name? You know, I kind of just came up with it at random, but yeah, you know, it's okay. What do you guys think? When I said that, I expected nobody to respond, you know, but two out of the three people answered that and said Sample Gamble. Sample Gamble is a great name. So you know what? It's fucking sticking around. And they liked it. They liked the game show. So we're going to fucking do it again. We're going to do it again. Holy shit. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I had to tell someone. I have no one to tell. So you guys got to listen to me rant about it for, holy shit, like 30 minutes. Oh my God. It's okay. That's okay. It's my podcast. Also, the other stuff I want to talk about, I don't have a ton to talk about. I was kind of struggled to pick up topics this time. Man, that was the content update. We have 3 topics to get to. So, let me wrap this section up real quick with my other notes I had here. I had no idea this was going to happen. So none of this was going to be in the podcast, but I have to rant. I got to rant about the first time when I start seeing growth on my channel, bro. Also, again, I apologize for having to talk quietly and such, but fiance is asleep and we do not wake the fiance. So in Sample Gamble, I actually felt a little bit self-conscious about it. After I rewatched it a couple times, I kind of felt like my persona was a little annoying. The editing was kind of a little annoying. I can't really describe why, but it just came off as kind of annoying to me. But it's pretty cool to see that other people don't think so. So that's nice. The editing takes a long time, but, you know, it is what it is. Do I want to do this? No. So there's a channel that I follow that does not have many subscribers. I think it's like 5K. Yeah, I'm not going to name the channel because I have zero reason to call them out and be mean, because that's not my goal at all. I just want to discuss what I've noticed, like analytically, about what helps a channel and what doesn't. So we're not going to say who it is, and I hope they are successful and keep doing what they're doing and grow and have a great life. So get that out of the way. What I've noticed is this guy popped up in my feed with like tiny ass video with like just a few subscribers. Well, not just a few, sorry, just a few views. We're talking small numbers, like hundreds, maybe into the thousands, not a lot. And it got me thinking. I was like, wow, this guy kind of releases a lot of content. Like he's got a video coming out like almost every other day. And YouTube shorts also like at least once a week, if not twice a week, which is crazy. That grind schedule, bro, that's fucking crazy. And it got me thinking, the more and more I look at his channel, I'm Oh no. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Sorry. I'm not crazy, guys, I promise. The more and more that I looked at his channel, I'm just checking his subscriber count real quick. Oh shit. It actually has gone up a little bit, I think. I actually can't remember if it was at this number before or not. I think it was pretty close to it. Anyway, I've noticed that this guy's views are okay for a subscriber count. It's kind of low, but it's also very varied. What I noticed specifically that I want to talk about is there's a lot of videos coming out, which is great. Consistency, if nothing else, is the first thing that you want to get down. Quality and content can come later. Just be consistent first. The content is fine, but the thing that I noticed about this guy's content is that his channel is not really growing that fast for the amount that he's just pumping out all the time, which is confusing, right? It's a little conflicting. And because I'm trying to study what works and what doesn't for my own channel, I really got into the weeds with this one. And I wanted to know, what is he doing right and what is he doing wrong? What I noticed is, to summarize it bluntly, which is not going to sound nice, but it's a lot of low effort videos, but a high output of them. And what I mean by low effort is there's not really much editing, if any. It's kind of just hit record in OBS, probably in his live streaming setup, record the video and then post it at whatever length it is, slap an outro on it, and there you go. And, oh, cat feeder's going off. Second thing I noticed is, especially for the YouTube shorts, they are confusing. I don't want to give away who this is, so I won't describe the actual content, but I noticed in the YouTube shorts, they are supposed to be showing you something, but they don't actually, which is weird. And I've talked about this once or twice, but I think this is actually AI, a service that edits your videos into a YouTube short, throws on thumbnails, throws on text, animated text, and emojis, and then it gives it a title, and then literally all you do is download the video and post it. You literally did nothing but link it to an original video, and then it edits it into clips for you. And the reason why I think that is because the video is supposed to be showing you how to accomplish something, which naturally would require the steps to get there. But there's not. Like, there's kind of the beginning steps, like the very introductory steps that doesn't really tell you much. And then some of the sections are just kind of seemingly unrelated, and then it just ends. And the title is misleading too, because it's like, this is how you do this. But it doesn't actually show you how, which is just leaves you with a bad feeling after you watch it. And I've noticed that, combined with the kind of low effort content, but there's a lot of it, it goes to show how important it is to have both consistent upload schedules and consistency in the content that you're creating, because I'm not seeing the channel grow very fast, which is sad because you want people to succeed. And it's kind of like my own little case study that I'm following to see how it's doing and how the content changes. So just something that I noticed that I wanted to mention because I thought it was very interesting. And it's one reason why I would advocate for maybe not using like AI short creation services like that, because it doesn't really do that good of a job, at least not yet. Anyway, we don't have much time. So let's move on. Topic number 1. The art of YouTube thumbnails. Now this kind of, basically all the topics for today, everything today. This is like a big YouTube podcast, content creation podcast. This one, you know, a lot of people have talked about this. A lot of people have talked about everything that I'm going to talk about today, except for maybe my own content. But YouTube thumbnails are so important. And this was like a big conversation a long time ago about clickbait thumbnails. And there's a happy medium you got to meet between actual clickbait and just kind of catchy things that are related to the video, but maybe a little bit glorified, outlandish. Here's the thing. From all the creators that I've talked to and artists, it's kind of treated as a... what's a good word for it? It's treated as something that you have to do, that you don't want to do, but you're forced to. It's the business, kid. It's the business. It's literally that, because it is incredibly hard to get people to watch your content organically. And eye-popping thumbnails and very YouTuber thumbnails and YouTuber titles are like integral to getting to people to click on the video, because unfortunately that is all that matters. That's all that matters. If you can just get them to click on it, everything else will happen after that. That's going to happen. So it's been kind of a hobby of mine recently, as I scroll through YouTube and like seeing what's popping up to me randomly that I would never normally watch. When I see something that catches my eye, I really look at the thumbnail first, and then I look at the title. I saw an excellent example just the other day with I assume what was probably a trending video it was titled, "If you're seeing this video, I'm in jail." That was the title. And then the thumbnail was just this super high quality shot of this guy just kind of leaning forward at the camera with a very serious face. I had to click on that. I didn't want to, but I had to. I had to click on that video. That is like a masterclass in thumbnails and names for a video. Someone who's pretty good at this that I've noticed recently, and I've mentioned this guy before, I've been watching his content recently, is Ryan Trahan. He is a traveling YouTuber who kind of reviews stuff as he travels around the world, like stuff like, I ate at the top 5 worst rated fast food restaurants in America, like that kind of stuff. He always does like the worst rated stuff, which makes it interesting. He recently had a video that I haven't watched yet, but that was titled, I think I sat in every seat on the worst airline or something like that, or on a one-star airline, something like that. Great title. Like, I want to know what that's like. Click. His thumbnail, another masterclass, is this subdivided image right down the center, and on the left, like heavily photoshopped, is just him looking sad in this super basic like white t-shirt, and he's holding a coffee mug, just a white paper cup coffee mug with a stain on it, and all of these are details that he put in by hand. And then his airplane seat beside him has a rip in it that he photoshopped in. It's all kind of dingy and a little bit gray. And then on the right side is the front, whatever it's called, first class. And he has like a nice suit. He has like a fancy ass coffee mug with like whipped cream and everything on it. The seat is super saturated in color and immaculate, like big dichotomy, big flashy colors. It's a masterclass in a thumbnail. And That's something that I'm trying to pick up, and it's crazy how much making good thumbnails is an actual craft, because you kind of don't think about it. I know for a long time I didn't really give much thoughts to my thumbnails. I just said, it's kind of something I just didn't want to do, to be honest. But I've been putting a lot more effort into it now, and it's here are the things that are crucial to a thumbnail, at least currently on YouTube. One is, if you use your face or your person as basically a brand for your channel. Examples are like, of course, Markiplier. His face is, that's I mean, literally the name of the channel. It's him. Like cooking YouTubers, Joshua Weissman, that's him. You need to have your face in the thumbnail 9 times out of 10. And you need to take up a massive majority of the thumbnail. And I mean, when you're making that thumbnail, you think you're too small, go bigger. You think you're too big, go bigger. Like, you're taking up half the screen on that thumbnail. And people need to see you to be like, their eyes are attracted to faces. It's just a natural thing that our brains are wired to do. It's how we socialize. It's how we connect. When you have your face, especially if you're making a wacky face, like you're super surprised or you're super angry, which we lovingly refer to as the YouTuber face. It is a horrible thing that we all must do. It is a necessary evil. That's what I was thinking of earlier. Unfortunately, it works, and it's been that way for a long time, and that's why it's a meme. It is a necessary evil we all must do, and it works very well. So have your face in it. You are your brand. I'm going to be honest, the reactions are hard. They're hard. They're hard to do. Not because they're literally hard to do, but it's hard to accept your own fate and actually put them into the thumbnail. It hurts just a little bit. It hurts my soul. But I did it. I'm going to keep doing it, and that makes me sad, but it is what it is. Past that, I mean, everything should be heavily photoshopped. Backgrounds should pop. Backgrounds should be, at the very least, stand out distinctly from you in the foreground, any other foreground elements, text, arrows, red circles, anything that relates to the title of your video, put it in the thumbnail. It can be very busy, it can be very simple, but it needs to be directed and it needs to be focused. Corridor, formerly Corridor Digital, had talked about their approach to this a couple times. What they used to do, I don't know if they still do it, to be honest, but they used to put a yellow border around their videos, and subconsciously, whenever you see the yellow border, you're like, oh shit, it's Corridor. Or maybe they'll have a little logo on the bottom left that you also notice. One thing that their thumbnail guy, I cannot believe I'm forgetting his name. He's no longer with Corridor. I think he branched out to do his own D&D show. I cannot believe I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, he talked about how in every one of their thumbnails, he slightly disfigures somebody's face just a little bit. Like, he makes their nose a little bit too big, one of their ears a little bit too small. And he talked about how not only are humans attracted to faces, they're even more attracted to something that is wrong with the face. Even if they don't even know what it is at first, they kind of glance and they go, what the fuck? And they just look a little bit closer. Even if they don't realize they're doing it, they do it, it's crazy. It's genius. It's very genius. I don't do that, at least not yet. Maybe I will, but that's crazy. But seriously, we have to move on. We're like so out of time, it's crazy. So we're gonna maybe combine. Well, we're just gonna blitz the rest of these. I'm sorry. I had it. Today was all about my first growth on YouTube. I mean, this could end up being kind of a historic episode that I look back on maybe one day in the future. So you never know, dude. You never know. But let's move on to topic number 2. Growth on YouTube. So, in my recent case studies on other people's YouTube channels, trying to figure out how to grow my own, which, by the way, is a great thing that everyone should do. You learn a lot that way. A YouTuber that I both like and love to study recently is Curtis Connor, which many of you will know. He's a comedic YouTuber. He does comedy shows, but he also has a podcast. He has Patreon, everything. So I got into, and I don't even listen to Curtis's podcast like that much. There was like a brief area where I did for a little while, which I've talked about this before, but was kind of the inspiration for this podcast. At least the style, like chill, just kind of talking, not too serious, not insanely structured, even though it kind of is now. But, I hadn't checked out his podcast in a long time. And back when I was listening to it, it wasn't that popular. It didn't have a ton of views or a ton of like people listening, but he did, there were people. So nowadays, I just kind of noticed the other day, his podcast channel has over 500,000 subscribers now, which is crazy. And I'm sure all of you are aware of this, but generally the metric for you've made it is if you have 1 million subscribers or more. And to be perfectly honest with you, if you're even getting close to 100,000, you're basically on your way to, quote, making it. Like, you're doing real good. But he's got 544K subs at the time of recording, at least when I checked earlier the other day. And I kind of went through all of his videos, and it looks like he gets an average of about 150K views on his podcasts, at least on YouTube, of course. Some of them go up to 500K every now and then, and some go as low as 80K. So, not every video is going to perform like the others, unfortunately. Pretty fucking solid for a second channel podcast YouTube channel. Like, his podcast is not his main source of content or his main source of income, but damn, that's pretty damn good for a podcast. It's like secondary to everything else. Like, respect. That's exciting to see. He has a Patreon, I believe, for his main channel. But what I noticed, which I thought was interesting, he also has a Patreon for his podcast, which is a great idea. And this ties into the third topic that we're going to talk about, which is diversifying your income from all your content. But he posts videos pretty consistently. Actually, like on the nose consistently, like every 2 weeks, which is what I do for my podcast. And I didn't even know he did this. So that's cool. And he has an extra one on his Patreon, so it seems. I don't know if that's like they get early access to it, or if it's just a completely separate episode that only the viewers of the Patreon can see. That's also pretty cool. Oh my God. I had to take my rings off, guys. Sorry. I had some McDonald's for dinner. Didn't want to cook tonight. My fucking fingers are going to swell up from all the goddamn sodium. So I'm going to take my rings off. I got a lot of rings. So that's pretty cool. The reason I want to talk about this and how it ties into growth on YouTube is just from studying this stuff. There's things that we can glean from it. There's a question that everybody seems to ask where it's at what point can YouTube become a full-time job? Excuse me, a full-time job, which is the dream. That's what you want for most people. It's the answer to that question is it's impossible to say, really, which is I know is an annoying answer, but it's very dependent on how you are creating and putting out content. How many views is needed to go full-time on YouTube? And the thing with that is that question in of itself doesn't make too much sense, because the view count alone is it's important, but it's a fraction of the overall picture. And whatever amount of views you have to consider that not all of those views are views with ads. And then even more than that, not all the views with ads are views where people have clicked on the ad. Who clicks on an ad? No one does that. Yeah, maybe even if it's an accident. Like, unfortunately, that's how money is made on YouTube. In a sense, not like so many other ways. But there's no sensible answer to how many views is needed to go full-time on YouTube. It depends on your RPM, on the additional income that you can get, like sponsorships, merch, and then also your expenses. Do you have expenses? Does it cost you money to make the content you make? I think for a lot of us, there's not really any. Maybe you could call expenses like upgrading your setup and stuff like that. Obviously, that's a probably pretty pricey expense. For me, that would kind of be almost like spending money, though, to me, because I'm making the content I am now just fine. But it would be sure would be nice to have better stuff and not record on an iPhone 11 that does not want to work with me at any point ever. But growth on YouTube it's a weird, like, honestly, like an art form, and it doesn't even have to be specifically for YouTube. It is in this context, but growth as a brand, which is just what any content creator is, they are a brand, is it takes a lot of knowledge about knowing what is important and what isn't. And nobody is there to tell you. And if you try to look it up, it's like, well, what does Reddit says important? What does YouTube say is important? And you just get a bunch of like shitty videos that are like, this is how you can make $5 million on YouTube in 1 year. Like, when it comes down to it, it is such a breath of fresh air to be able to listen to people who are experienced, who have experience as a brand on YouTube, giving you that knowledge, because I don't trust the random videos on YouTube. They're like, do this and you'll make money, because that's never how it works. Like, it's never that simple. I'm realizing a lot of my points here don't specifically talk about how to grow on YouTube. I've kind of been talking about that in general over the whole podcast. But there's a lot, maybe we'll deep dive into all this stuff on another one at some point. We're just kind of out of time. Spent too long at the beginning, so we're going to have to move on. And this topic is related. I'm not going to bother with the transition on this one. You guys have been here before. But topic 3 is diversifying income. And that's basically what we're talking about already. So I'm not going to bother transitioning. But this is honestly like the biggest key to, quote, making it as a content creator and making the content that you create your main source of income, and that is your only job. A lot of people, when they ask about like, how do you make it on YouTube? How many views do you need? Like I said before, it's not always about the views. The views are important, but you'll find that almost every successful YouTuber does not, they don't only post videos and survive off only the money they get from the views. Maybe if they're like million on million of subscribers where every video gets them multiple millions of views, well, then you're talking thousands of dollars that they're getting just from people watching the video. And in that case, yeah, technically then, but those are honestly edge cases, because most people don't make it that far. The realistic way is to, and this sounds so boring, this sounds like business talk, but it's you gotta diversify your income, kid. That's what you got to do. What this looks like in this context is what you see these guys doing to do this. Patreon. Sponsors is huge. If you're immersed in YouTube culture at all, you're very used to sponsors and sponsored segments and all the YouTubers that you like in their videos. Here's the thing. I used to think that I would never take a sponsor that I didn't like. And I'd almost never take sponsors. I'd only take sponsors that I truly believed in. Unfortunately, that's not reality. Now, would I take sponsors that I know are scummy, shitty places? No. For example, I would not sponsor BetterHelp. I know there's good that happens on there. There is, objectively. But there's a lot of bad. A lot. I've heard way too many stories of people getting these unqualified weirdos making their life a lot worse. It always kind of saddens me when I see YouTubers promoting BetterHelp because I feel like they didn't do their homework, and I do feel like that is important. So accepting sponsors is a big deal. I don't think that you should be too concerned. Don't make it your life goal to research every single sponsor to make sure they're perfect angels of a company. But I would say don't go in blind, look them up a little bit, at least enough to understand who they are and if they're real. And if you notice some red flags, or maybe it doesn't align with your ideals just right, it's up to you. But for me personally, I would not accept that deal. That might hurt a lot, if it's a decent sponsor, but I wouldn't do it. It depends. But in general, sponsors are going to be an actual very, very large majority of your income. The money that you're going to get from views is very, very small. I've seen some people saying that even 100,000 views, 150,000 views is $160, under $200. Which is crazy, by the way. That's crazy. But that just happens to be the way that it is. So when you get a sponsor, and by the way, I have no point of reference for sponsor money. I've always kind of been under the belief that it's hundreds or thousands of dollars. I cannot confirm or deny that, but that's what I think. So if you make a video that gets 200,000 views and you spend a month on it and you're only getting maybe $200, maybe, for that 1 month video you just worked on just from the views, that ain't gonna cut it, That's nice side income, but that is not live on income. Now, if you had a sponsor for that video and they offered to throw $950 at you, well, now you just bumped yourself up to, what is that, 1,300 or something like that, close, 1,200 something. That's pretty good, You're not getting to livable yet, but you're getting there. This is why it's so important to have multiple sources of income, because now, let's add some more on there. Let's say you have merch for this entire brand that you're creating. This is way, way bigger than I think a lot of people realize. Primarily for actually just a lot of YouTubers, but especially for us music YouTubers, merch is almost always the primary source of income, which still blows my mind. I have heard countless people talk about this, and every time it seems like it can't be true, but it is. People really, really, really like buying something related to something that they like, especially if they feel that it's niche and they can represent their interest in that thing by buying something. People love doing that. Merch is very, very lucrative and very, very important. And it's why even from the start, it's something that I'm working on. We're not there yet, I'll tell you guys when that happens, but not yet. But I have some things that I'm looking at. That's going to be cool. But merch is incredibly important. Now, I don't have any figures for you on that are any kind of reasonable. There's just no way to know. But based off what people say, if it's really that important, if you're getting 200K views and you're getting maybe a $900 sponsor, let's say this month in merch you made, I really don't know, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Let's say you made another $600 in merch. You know, that's a big deal when the views are only giving you 200. Let's say you made 600 in merch off this month. That's pretty cool. So now I should have a calculator open, to be perfectly honest with you. We'll say we were at like 1,200. So now you got $600 more dollars. Now you're up at 1,800 for this month. That's getting, you are now, congratulations, you are now in the livable section of making money. What I would advise though, that is enough to live on. It's not a lot. Oh wait, I'm sorry. No, it's not. I'm saying monthly. No, it's not. That's how much it would be livable on if you made that in 2 weeks. For a month, not really. Technically, like, we're not going to get into the weeds in this. That's not a lot. With YouTube, with content creation, with a brand that you're creating, you have to be very careful about lunging for that urge to quit your job and be a content creator full time, because it is not consistent and it never will be. You will have good months, you will have bad months, and you have to be prepared for that. There's a very high chance that over time you'll just get paid more and more and more, especially if you're doing things correctly, and that's super exciting. But you have to be prepared that this month nobody really bought anything, and all the videos you made this month did super bad. It will happen. That's just the way things work. And this is what I mean, like when I'm talking about earlier, where it's like, you wouldn't know from the size of my channel, but like I've been around this stuff for a long time. And I have a lot of very useful knowledge around this stuff. I just have never really put it to consistent use, which is what I'm trying to do now. So personally, I would not be comfortable quitting my job to make content unless I was making at least 3 times what I'm making at my job off YouTube, off my content, which I know is like, that's a big statement, and it is. But that's just the way things are. I absolutely will not risk, my livelihood going away, chasing something like this, without definitive proof that it's going to work. And by making 3 times more than my day job, that is guaranteeing that if I have a bad month, it's not going to ruin me, To finish this off real quick, there's other sources of income too. So we're at 1,800 for the month. Now, let's say you're a music producer. 9 times out of 10, if you've made it this far, you've got people listening to your music. And for music producers, shit, maybe even people listen to your music more than they do watch your YouTube videos. 9 times out of 10, from what I've heard, your merch is still going to make you more money, especially from fucking Spotify revenue, which is nothing, by the way. But let's say you're getting lucky and you're kind of putting out some bangers and people are kind of listening. Let's say you made $300 off your music this month. And here's the thing. This figure could change wildly, because if you got a pretty big discography, the views that are trickling in from the plays that are trickling in from your old music, are going to add with any newer stuff that you made. Like, people listen to music forever and always. People don't usually just listen to the new stuff and not listen to anything else. Some people do, but like, it's not that common. More people listen to everything, especially if they really like an artist. So actually, for that fact alone, that can apply to YouTube channels as well. Not as much, but like, you're still going to get views off your old YouTube videos as well, not just the new one. Now, granted, not nearly as much, but let's throw on an extra 150 in YouTube views from just passively from all your old videos, which means you're now up to basically 2,000. And we'll just round up for the sake of brevity. We'll round up to 2,000. Now for your music, let's say you've got a fairly large discography and you made some bangers recently. It's not going to be much. I'm sorry. At least from Spotify, it's not going to be much. I saw a video where some guy was like, I got like 300,000 plays, a ton of hours from this one guy. I only made, I think it was $150 out of his like 3,000 hours spent listening to this artist. And he sent him the money because he was just like, as a thank you. But like, that's fucking crazy for 300,000 plays, 1 million plays, and making like barely $200 or $400. Like that's fucking insane. It's insane. Spotify revenue is 10 times worse than almost every other form of revenue from any content anywhere. So we're not going to put this one very high. We're going to say at the most you're getting like maybe $200 a month off your actual music. And it probably won't even be consistently per month, to be honest, but we'll throw it on there. And there's more. Here's another one. Patreon. Patreon is incredibly important because this is it's similar to the other things but different. Patreons can explode really fast, and they can be a shocking amount of consistent revenue. And let me explain. Let's say you've got a normal tiered Patreon that starts at like $5. And this is a tip that I've heard, which is very good, but like never, ever start a tier on your Patreon, even the smallest one at $1. It's not worth it. It will never be worth it. For me, the minimum I would ever start a Patreon is $5. And, you can go as high as you want, but let's say reasonably your highest tier is $20, maybe $50 if you really want to push it. If you're getting like 200,000 views on a YouTube channel, I'd say you probably at least have about close to 500,000 subscribers, maybe more like 400,000, which is real good. Let's say that your Patreon is 10% of those subscribers. It might even be lower, but let's say it is. That's 400 people. Now, you could get the median of this by doing some math, but we're going to make it real simple. Let's just average everything. Let's say your tiers are 5, 10, and 30 or something. We'll pick a nice number in between, like 15, maybe 18. So let's say 400 of those people are paying you 18 on average. Realistically, it's probably lower because most people probably go for the cheaper option. So let's say it's more like 14 on average. That's going to be... All right, maybe it's a little much. If you have an average of $14 per people and you got 400 people on your Patreon, that's $5,600 just from Patreon. So we're going to cut these numbers by a lot because I think that's a little crazy. And to be honest with you, it's not. Depending on the content, I've seen Patreons like that. Like it's actually not that crazy. But let's say it's more like an average of 8 and maybe you have 200 people. That is a much more reasonable $1,600 extra. But here's the thing. You're going to add that onto the $2,200 that you already had cooking from all your other sources of income. Congratulations, you are now up to $3,800 a month. Like, that's pretty much there. maybe a teensy bit more, and you're real close to that line. If that's where you want to draw it personally for yourself to say, maybe I could do this full time. And you got a lot of content. I mean, merch, music, videos, Patreon, sponsors. You're already doing a lot. Like that's a lot of work. Man, this is what I'm talking about. Like I said, you were a channel that maybe had 400,000 subscribers. You're getting like 200K views. But that's only netting you like a couple $100. And this is where people, when they ask that question, they're like, well, how much do I have to make on YouTube to make it? And it's like, well, a lot. Because if it's just from views, you got to have millions of views per video if you want to make it by just doing, by just getting revenue from your videos, from your views. So there you go. I talked a bit too much, to be perfectly honest with you. I was supposed to make this short, and then I didn't. I'm a little bitch. We're over time, but there you go. Diversifying income. I'm a rambler. Y'all know this by now, but that's where it's important, man. You gotta have lots of different sources of income, and if you tie it all into your content, well, there you go. You got your brand. I mean, that's it, bro. Now it gets, a little bit more complicated to actually enact all that. It's hard to interconnect all of your content and constantly be promoting yourself and yada, yada. But y'all can do it. We all can. I believe in us. It's going to take some time. But YouTube is this thing that people are scared of, and rightfully so. And for a lot of us, it kind of seems like, well, a lot of people from the recent generations are like, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a Twitch streamer. Oh, that's another one I completely forgot about. If you stream on Twitch or YouTube as well, that's a whole nother source of income. But this is all like, it's a nightmare for taxes too. Taxes are going to be real fun. But you guys get it. I'm out of time. So we're going to quickly go over to, well, we're not. Question section is usually our last section, but we're out of time. So we don't have any questions today, unfortunately. If you would like to send in a question, there are two ways that you can do it. There's a Gmail. Sorry, that's not relevant at all. There's an email that you can email, or you can go to the subreddit. If you wish to send in an email, you will have to send that to NU-11 sectorpodcast@gmail.com. No dash, by the way, in NU-11, not for the email. All that I ask is that in the subject line of the email, you put whatever you want your name to be, dash podcast question. Just put that in the subject line, type whatever you want in the body of the email, hit send. We'll talk about it on the next podcast. It doesn't have to be a question, could be feedback, could be anything. It doesn't matter. If you would like to send it into the Reddit, I thought I had this written down, but I don't see it, which is honestly very annoying. But you can go to the Null Sector podcast Reddit, which is NU-11 sector. And once you're there, you can use the podcast question flair and ask a question. I'll see it. We'll talk about it here. If you're coming from YouTube, from my main channel, you can use YouTube question. It really doesn't matter which one you use. We'll probably talk about them both on the podcast, but we do talk about the YouTube ones in YouTube videos. So if you want to get in a YouTube video on my main channel, use the YouTube question flair and ask a god-darn question, buddy. That's all the time we got for. We really got to go. It is, what time is it? Oh, Lord, it's almost 11. I was supposed to be asleep at 8 p.m. It's past my bedtime. I got to get up in very soon. So I'm going to bed. Good night, my guys. I love you. It's that time. Thank you for the fucking immaculate vibes, for hanging with me, your boy. And I will see you next week. We are one episode every 2 weeks on Monday. You can find Excuse me. As always, you can find the audio version of this podcast on Spotify, Pocket Casts, and many others. If you'd like to see the video version, it is on my second channel, NU-22. Keep an eye out for all my other forms of content. Everywhere else, I am known as basically NU-11 official or NU_11 official. There are links to my socials everywhere. You'll find it. That's it, guys. I will see you next Monday. Love y'all. Peace the freak out, dog.
NU-11 No
Sector Podcast.
Are they gone? Always have to ask. We always have to check to see if the dirty audio listeners are gone. Because we're the video guys. You and me, we got a thing. Because it's just us. And it's not usually like that with the other guys. Last time I told you about the merch in this section, the outro special post-credit scene. I'm gonna give you a little bit more tidbit about that. We're gonna start out with just clothes, okay? I love techwear, you know this, but got some ideas for a shirt with printing down the sleeves. How fucking cool is that? To put my logo on it, it's gonna look real clean, black and white. Oh, same for the sweatpants. Sweatpants, they only let me, place I'm using, they only let me put it like on the thigh, but that's okay, you know? Could look fire, dude. Very excited. But I have to go. It is my bedtime after all, so give Papa a kiss, and I will see you next time, okay? Come on.